This week, Electricity Minister Dr Kgosientsho Ramokgopa announced that South Africa will launch a bidding process to build a new nuclear power station with 2,500 megawatts of power. So how long will it take, and how is this process likely to work? Newzroom Afrika's Andersen has more.
South Africa has long had the Koeberg nuclear power station as its nuclear energy home. Now, government wants to add 2,500 megawatts of additional nuclear power to the mix from a new power station. Electricity Minister Dr Kgosientsho Ramokgopa made the announcement this past week and reveals that the procurement process will soon open. Ramokgopa and team said the new power station will take around 10 years until it is procured, built, and finally connected to the grid. As a result, this new power station will not be involved in ending load shedding, but will instead look to secure the country's energy future as demand continues to grow. And while the overall reaction to the new nuclear deal announcement has been mixed for a magnitude of reasons, energy expert Vali Pariachi believes that nuclear power makes sense for South Africa's needs.
But as a technology, from a balanced, just energy transition perspective, and from maybe not the short term, but from the medium to long term, it's an excellent technology from a South African perspective.
Pariachi is a former Eskom and City Power executive and was recently interviewed multiple times and reportedly shortlisted for the Eskom CEO post. With 2,500 megawatts on the agenda for this new nuclear power station, Pariachi explains that the most likely build for the new plant will be a modular build, meaning several smaller modules built piece by piece. When all running together, that will then likely add up to the desired 2,500. Pariachi says this approach also makes the huge cost of nuclear energy easier for investors to back.
It's easier to implement projects in modular form because, as the name suggests, it's like a Lego. You can just put them together. And when you get modular form, you can suit the number of modules you put in to the level of funding that you could get, resourcing, availability of materials, etc., etc. In other words, you can also, by going the modular route, you don't have to install the entire 2,400 megawatts in one go or 2,500 megawatts. You can install them in modules and use the revenue stream that you get from each of the modules to guarantee or risk mitigate your funding.
But to South Africans, big expensive deals for nuclear energy are a very controversial topic. All thanks to the 2014 nuclear deal between Russia and South Africa that would have cost over R1 trillion and was slammed by opposition parties for being shrouded in secrecy and simply way too expensive. That deal was eventually blocked by the courts in 2017. So with all eyes set to be on lookout for who gets the deal to build the new nuclear power plant, Pariachi says due to the size and advancement of nuclear tech, it's highly unlikely that just one company will be solely in charge of the build.
So we could go with a number of stakeholders, as I said, or we could go with one single developer or IPP, which I think is very unlikely. It will have to be a global mix of players. But I think the reality is that I don't think we'll be able to get away from the politics coming into it, the sensitivities, but I'm hoping that the procurement process, the supply chain process will be sound enough, solid enough. We've had enough bad experience with the state capture, etc. We don't want to go back there again, and we want to get this thing right.
And with record levels of load shedding recorded again this year, and Eskom already unable to meet the nation's demand for electricity, it's clear that the need to get this new power plant done properly is now higher than ever. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Andersen in Johannesburg.